What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, April 4th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 21:51 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you on the situation in Israel. The whole world is watching and waiting to see what Iran is going to do to Israel in the coming hours. Iran has vowed a harsh response to the Israeli airstrike on their consulate in Damascus, Syria, which is basically the equivalent of striking Iranian territory because a country's consulate or embassy is the equivalent of that country's territory. And we have senior Israeli officials saying that the Iranian response could occur tomorrow. And I want to remind you guys that there's a 7-hour time difference from Israel. So it's actually morning time already in Israel right now. So this could all pop off any hour, any minute. And if something does happen, I will go live as long as necessary to cover the situation. But we know that Israel is on high alert. Earlier today, we heard that the Israeli government told all hospital managers in Israel to make sure that they maximize their staff this coming weekend, obviously to deal with casualties from any airstrikes by Iran. And senior Israeli officials say that Israel has indications that Iran may attack Israel from its territory using long-range ballistic missiles, drones, or cruise missiles. This was reported by Walla News. And senior Israeli officials say they made it clear to the U.S. that they will have to respond if they get attacked by Iran. So we're on the verge of a war with Iran, because what's going to happen is Iran is going to strike Israel in the coming hours, and then Israel is going to respond, and then Iran is going to respond back, and it's just going to escalate until the U.S. has to get involved. And then we could be looking at a full-scale decapitation strike on the Iranian military and on their nuclear program. And Iran signed a defense agreement with Russia. So then Russia could potentially get involved and defend Iran, and that could kick off World War III. Okay, so this is a very, very serious situation, and I'm going to be monitoring it for you. And like I said, when this all happens, I will go live. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell down below so you get notified when I do go live. We also have some breaking news coming from Europe. Apparently, Britain, France, and Northern European countries are preparing to send troops to Ukraine. And this was stated by the U.S. State Department consultant Edward Lutwak in a column for Unheard Portal. In his opinion, NATO countries will soon have to send troops to Ukraine anyway. Otherwise, the alliance will be forced to accept a catastrophic defeat. And I've been saying for weeks now that the Ukrainian front lines are on the verge of collapsing. Okay, Russia has been spending the last year mobilizing and preparing for this new offensive, while the West has been dilly-dallying and they haven't been giving Ukraine what they need to win. At the appropriate times, they haven't gotten what they need. That's why the counteroffensive has failed. Russia is in a wartime mode. They're devoting 30% of their budget to their military. This is serious, guys, okay? So very serious. Looks like NATO countries, Britain, France, and Northern European countries are preparing to send troops into Ukraine, okay, because Russia's about to break through the lines and they could push all the way to the Dnipro River and basically take the entire eastern half of Ukraine. And apparently the strike by Israel on the Iranian consulate in Damascus was viewed as an attack on Iranian soil. And as a result, any retaliation would be likely to come from Iran itself rather than Iranian allies. according to a person associated with Hezbollah. This was reported by the Washington Post. So Iran is going to respond directly to show strength. They want to basically scare Israel. They even said earlier today that any response would be so severe that it would make Israel think twice about attacking Iran again. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day. Breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And an Iranian source told Reuters that Iran will be forced to respond in a serious way to deter Israel from repeating attacks. Okay, so this is going to be a serious attack coming directly from Iran. We know that Israel has been setting up GPS jammers all over the country to try to throw off any GPS-guided missiles that Iran is going to be launching. A few days ago, we had some intelligence come out that Iran was moving their long-range missiles to the northern and western part of their country. And Iran informed the U.S. today through the Swiss embassy in Tehran that it has decided to bomb Israeli objectives. Wow. Very serious, guys. And the president of Iran wrote on Twitter that 0 hour is near. And the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said today in response to all the Iranian threats that Israel can and will defend itself against any threat. We will harm anyone who wants to harm us. Wow. And Biden and Netanyahu had a 45-minute phone call today, and they discussed the threat from Iran. And apparently Biden vowed to support Israel if they were to get attacked by Iran. And right now, at this hour, we currently have U.S. nuclear forces still on high alert. We have a U.S. nuclear war command and control plane up in the air over the Carolinas. It's been up in the air all afternoon and all evening. We also have a combat Sentinel plane that just took off from Stratcom, and it's heading south. Looks like it might be going to the Gulf of Mexico. And these planes are responsible for providing reconnaissance information directly to the president and the Joint Chiefs. We only have 2 of these planes. So for there to be 1 in the air is pretty unusual, and it means that something is going on. And then earlier today, we had several doomsday planes in the air. This evening, we had another doomsday plane fly from D.C. to Ohio. That was the 3rd doomsday plane that was in the air today, guys. 3 presidential doomsday planes in one day is insane. And then we also had 4 nuclear war command and control planes in the air earlier. Okay, so a total of 4 nuclear war command and control planes today and 3 presidential doomsday planes. I cannot emphasize to you how serious that is. And this was earlier today in the afternoon. Here are two of the doomsday planes. You can see one that took off from DC and went west over Kentucky. And then there was another one over the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Corpus Christi. And then there was also a nuke sniffer plane in the air. And then there was also a B-2 stealth bomber that got aerially refueled over the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. And this was actually a picture that was taken by a friend of mine and a subscriber of the channel. Absolutely insane, guys, to have a B-2 refueling aerially over the United States means that our bomber force is on maximum alert, and they're getting ready to go to Iran and annihilate the Iranian military if they go overboard in their strike on Israel. And last night, there were a bunch of Russian doomsday planes that flew to Siberia and the Ural Mountains. So this was probably Putin being moved to one of his doomsday bunkers in the Urals or in Siberia. Maybe he went to Mount Yamantu. Maybe he went to Kazvinsky Kameny. I don't know, but this is extremely concerning, seeing all these Russian doomsday planes here, and then also 3 doomsday planes in the U.S. earlier today. So VIPs are being evacuated in the event that this war between Iran and Israel escalates and brings all the great powers into it. Here we have the tweet from the president of Iran, and he wrote here that the 0 hour is near. And this tweet shows banners that have been put in Iranian cities, and the banners say, "We take revenge." And there's a picture of the Israeli defense minister here and some other high-ranking Israeli military officials. So I don't know if they're going to try to strike the Israeli military officials directly and try to assassinate them, just how Israel assassinated the Quds Force leaders. But this is very, very serious, guys. Okay, looks like they're going to try to take out the Israeli military leadership. Very serious. Here we have some video footage showing Israel evacuating some of their F-16s from various air bases. And so they've basically deconstructed these F-16s and put them on flatbed trucks. You can see they took the wings off, and this is literally just the body of the F-16, and they put them on flatbeds so they could get them out of these air bases, because they're afraid that Iran is going to try to strike their air bases and destroy their F-16s. Okay, so they've deconstructed them and they're moving them maybe into bunkers. I want to remind you guys that Israel is a nuclear power. A lot of people don't realize that, but Israel does have nuclear weapons. They have the Jericho missiles, and their latest Jericho missile can reach Moscow. Okay, the range is like 4,000 miles, I believe. And they also have fighter jet launched missiles that have nuclear warheads on them. Okay, so if this escalates, Israel could launch nukes at Iran. Okay, and the U.S. could get involved. Russia could then get involved. I mean, this could go sideways very, very quickly. And Israel is transferring an electronic warfare system to their Dimona nuclear facility. And if you don't know what the Dimona nuclear facility is, that's where the Israeli nuclear weapons program originated, and that's their primary nuclear research facility. That's where they enrich uranium for their nuclear weapons in the Negev desert. So here you can see this electronic warfare system being moved on a giant flatbed truck, an oversized load. Okay, check that out. That is just absolutely insane how massive this machine is, and it's for electronic warfare, apparently. So they obviously want to protect their nuclear facility from any Iranian ballistic missiles. And following Iranian threats, the alert level in Israeli embassies abroad has been moved to a maximum level. Some Israeli missions have also been evacuated following assessments by the Shin Bet and the Foreign Ministry. We're hearing that 7 Israeli embassies have been evacuated in Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, Morocco, and Turkey. Okay, So, very tense situation, guys. We could wake up tomorrow to a world war. And here we have some video footage coming out of Israel showing Israelis cleaning out grocery stores in preparation for this potential Iranian strike and also for a potential escalation between Israel and Iran and a possible world war. So I'm going to continue to monitor the situation, guys, but it's really, really serious. And the Wall Street Journal reports that Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, told the US and NATO that their troops wouldn't be needed if France sends its soldiers to Ukraine, and that the French soldiers that come under attack by the Russian army would not need NATO and US protection. Okay. So he's basically saying, I'll do it alone. I don't need any assistance. I don't need you guys to back me up. And the United Arab Emirates has announced suspension of all diplomatic ties with Israel. We have some very concerning news about the bird flu. It's continuing to spread. Apparently, there were some new outbreaks reported at 2 more dairy farms in Kansas and New Mexico, raising the total number of outbreaks to 15 dairy farms. There were also some dairy cows in Ohio that tested positive for the bird flu, making it the 6th state to report cases. Apparently, this dairy operation in Ohio received cows from a Texas dairy farm where the bird flu originated from. And scientists and experts are raising the alarm and warning that the bird flu could be 100 times worse than the COVID-19 and potentially result in fatalities of up to 50% of those infected. On Wednesday, the European Food Safety Authority issued an alert noting that transmission between bird and mammal species has been observed, particularly in fur animal farms where outbreaks have been reported. These viruses continue to evolve globally, and with the migration of wild birds, new strains carrying potential mutations for mammalian adaptation could be selected. If avian influenza viruses acquire the ability to spread efficiently among humans, large-scale transmission could occur due to the lack of immune defenses against H5 viruses in humans. So very serious, guys. We have no natural immunity, and it has a high fatality rate, okay? 50%. Maybe this is the disease X that they were talking about a few months back, okay? And Reuters reported that a scientific expedition in Antarctica found hundreds of dead penguins that were apparently killed from the H5N1 bird flu, raising concerns that it could decimate threatened species of penguins and other animals. Wow. And Ukraine launched a massive drone attack on Russia tonight. There were kabooms heard in Taganrog and Rostov, and they also launched a massive drone attack on the 559th Guards Bomber Aviation Regiment based at the Morozovsk airfield, which includes 3 squadrons of Sukhoi 34 fighter jets. And we actually have some footage of that. Let me share this with you. This is pretty intense. You could see the drones coming in and going kaboom, and you can see the anti-air guns that are trying to shoot them down. This is a Russian bomber base, okay? And apparently as many as 60 kabooms were reported at this bomber base. So this was a very, very serious drone attack. So you can see the anti-air guns firing right there. So very, very serious situation. And there were multiple fires reported in Kursk, Russia, after a large-scale drone attack by Ukraine. And Germany's defense ministry has asked the German military to prepare for compulsory military service And U.S. House Representative from Texas, Mike McCall, says that National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan believes that Russia will launch a first nuclear strike against the U.S. And U.S. House Representative from Texas, Mike McCall, says that National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan believes that Russia will launch a first nuclear strike against the United States if Ukraine is given too much military aid. I want to show you guys some interesting flights this evening over the Baltic Sea. We have this German Air Force sub hunter that was flying really close to Kaliningrad and very low. This is pretty unusual to see a German sub hunter patrolling the Baltic Sea. And we also had a U.S. military Black Hawk that was flying right off the coast of Kaliningrad. And I don't know if this is related to those Baltic exercises that Russia's doing with their Baltic fleet. Apparently, they're going to have like 10 warships and 1,500 pieces of equipment participating in this exercise in the Baltic Sea. They're going to practice going to a combat mode with their Baltic fleet, which is very suspicious because Belarus has put their military on combat alert. So it could be related to some type of upcoming military action that Belarus may take against Lithuania. But to have a U.S. Black Hawk fly this close to Kaliningrad is extremely serious. There was also a U.S. sub hunter plane flying in the Baltic Sea at the same time as the German sub hunter and also at the same time as the U.S. Black Hawk. And the U.S. has canceled its latest oil reserve refill plan for the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which means that we're only going to have 17 days worth of oil in a crisis. The Energy Department has been slowly refilling the emergency oil supply after it reached a 40-year low following the Biden administration's unprecedented drawdown of a record amount of 180 million barrels. In the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it currently holds about 363 million barrels, and that's down from almost 600 million at the start of 2022. So that's really bad, guys. We've drawn down basically 50% of our strategic petroleum reserve. That is very, very bad. And finally, I want to just share some footage here from northern Maine. This is coming from the Sugarloaf Mountain ski area in the Moosehead Lakes region of Maine. And Maine got like 2 feet of snow over the last day or so. And you can see here on these pictures how much snow there is. So if any of you guys like to ski, check out Sugarloaf Mountain in Maine. I'm not sponsored by them. Just wanted to share these pictures here. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news. And if anything happens with Israel and Iran, I will go live. So until tomorrow, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Guys, the world is getting crazier by the day. We're on the verge of World War III. The U.S. is drowning in trillions of dollars in debt. Inflation is at an all-time high, and there's no end in sight. So you need to prepare your finances for the future with precious metals. Precious metals are a great way to protect your hard-earned savings and retirement against inflation and the uncertainty of the stock market. Also, precious metals are good to have for the purposes of preparedness, to be able to barter with people for essential supplies if the grid goes down. Every prepper should have at least a small amount of silver coins. The company I trust for my precious metals is Midas Gold Group. Text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information on precious metals. Midas Gold Group is 100% veteran owned and supports veterans through the Wounded Warrior Project. Midas Gold Group will work with you to convert part of your retirement savings into gold or to set up a gold IRA. And unlike many precious metals dealers, Midas Gold Group offers precious metals in small denominations, which is great for preparedness, so you have something tangible to use for bartering when the grid goes down. Precious metals have continuously risen in price over the past 100 years and are considered a safe investment. So text NYPrepper to 232-425 for free information and to get started today.